I love it.
I know a few people forgot to clap, but that was good. You did well. So welcome everyone to Speak Up Monday, episode 503. And tonight really is all about decoding what's holding us back. So if you recall, Speak Up Monday started, well, many years ago we started it, but people inspire people. Unity and diversity, entrepreneurship and social impact. A massive part of the way we started was because in Sydney, where I spent many years, at the top of the hospitality industry, there were three other guys, men, who were killing the game. They were successful, had the wife, the car, all the things that we believe success looked like, they had. In 1 year, all three committed suicide. So when we was coming to name the show, I had help from one person who gave me a little bit of an insight, and it came like I knew what to do. Monday is the day where heart attacks are the most common in the world at that time, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Monday, the most heart attacks in the world. The second part of it, as you've guessed, is that suicides on Monday are one of the highest incident days of people wanting to take their own lives. Okay, so after that, it became very clear to me that what we had to do on a Monday was create a pebble, a stone of purely positive intention, and drop that stone into a pond of still water, which represents all of us, the universe, and those positive ripples move outward and affect the whole on a day when things are going the other way. Right? So this is one of the main reasons why it's called Speak Up Monday, not Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a terrible business move when you think about it, because you have to do it on one day, right? But that's what's behind it. Still to this day, people inspire people. So tonight, with our guest, Christopher Howard, who I've had the pleasure of spending some quality time with at the recent billionaire boot camp in Ubud, Cyan Ridge, beautiful area, is a person who has the technology, the understanding, the know-how, the belief and the heart to basically how to rewire our minds, how to rewire the way we see the world and our part in it, which is an extremely powerful tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read from my iPad here to give you a bit more insight into Chris. Then after that, we're going to start the show. So as I mentioned before, escape the you that's holding you back is the name of tonight's show, episode 503. So we welcome one of the world's most influential transformational leaders, Christopher Howard, a global pioneer in NLP, neuro-linguistics programming, neurohypnotics, and identity reprogramming, whose work has reached millions across 28 countries. And if you don't know what NLP is, don't worry about it. That would be the first question, all right? With 100 million in seminar sales, he scaled the world's largest NLP training company with decades of coaching celebrities, founders, and Fortune 500 executives. Chris now focuses on something even deeper, helping people to break free from the invisible identity that has quietly been holding them back. So if you're an entrepreneur, a creator, or leader ready for a real breakthrough, well, this one's for you. Also, if you're an ordinary human being, so you think this one is for you. 3 quick takeaways, why you're stuck. And it's not what you think. Chris spent 12 years trapped in an inner identity loop that we're going to go into. Learn how to spot the invisible pattern that's blocking your progress. Number 2, break the cycle that keeps repeating. If the same challenges keep resurfacing, discover the unconscious mechanism behind the loop and how to collapse it. Number 3, install the you who doesn't struggle anymore. Transformation isn't mindset, it's identity. So we're going to learn how to install the version of yourself that moves with clarity, flow, and power. So I think we've already said, but Chris transformational architect, NLP pioneer, founder of EpicLife.ai, 100 million plus in seminar revenue, trained leaders in 28 countries, built the world's largest NLP training company, creator of neuro-hypnotic identity recording. I know I'm just repeating myself here, but it's okay. Me, as you know, Robert Ian Bonnick, founder of SpeakuP Monday, Carrier Life Group, which is a gateway to Indonesia for companies. It's a growth strategist, advisor, top 10 motivational speaker in South Asia, and we've been recognized by the Institute of Tourism and Creative Economy here in Indonesia, Founders Institute, Startup Grind, and many other private sector organizations. But look, that's a pretty long intro. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you for bearing with us. So, quick raise of hands, right? By the way, so if you're watching from online, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, we had about 10,000 people over the years in your position or in-person audience, right? And it's powerful because you get to share, connect meaningfully with the people that are here. And oftentimes we've created so many hundreds and thousands of relationships, business deals, some more private relationships, let's put it like that. We're not a dating service, but it's happened over the years. So my question to you before we introduce Chris is, how many of you, by show of hands, know definitively what NLP is? Raise your hands. Okay, good. So for those of you who don't know, so I know that it's working, if you don't know what NLP is, raise your hand high, high, high. If you don't know what NLP is. All right. So there's some people in the room that are not telling the truth because some of you didn't raise your hands at all. That's okay. So look, Chris, welcome to the night show, brother.
Yeah, there's seats up front, guys, if you want to come down up front.
Sadi. Yeah,
good
it's okay.
to see you.
She knows where to come. Yeah, Sadi, there's a seat in the front for you.
Yeah, you guys can share the beanbag up front. It's you're close.
Yeah, it's for the early comers. All right. Beautiful. All right, so Bobby, while you're doing that, so Chris.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you.
So let's get into it. NLP. Please describe that for people here because some are not really aware of what that is.
Okay, so NLP, and I'll let these guys sit down.
All right, Bobby, that's
okay.
okay.
Shh. All right, here we go. Let there be calm.
All right, everybody.
All right, here we go.
Be quiet.
So the question was, what is NLP?
Yep.
And so NLP is a hybrid science that was pulled together in the late 60s, early 70s. So there was a computer scientist and a linguist, both at the University of Santa Cruz at the time. And they, and I'm going to shorten the story just to keep it real tight, but they wanted to find out how change occurred in a therapeutic interaction when change occurred. And so they went out and they studied the most famous therapists at the time. There was Virginia Satir, who was a family therapist, Fritz Perls, who was the father of Gestalt therapy, Dr. Milton Erickson, who was a classically trained psychiatrist and worked with Ericksonian hypnosis, which was conversational hypnosis. And they looked at what happened that moment that change occurred so that we could replicate the moment change occurs without having to go through years of therapy. Freud said famously in the collective papers of Sigmund Freud that a person would not see the results until after 700 hours of therapy, which equated to about seven years. So now they were looking to facilitate rapid and long-lasting change. And typically what's taught today as NLP is a trail of techniques that was found from modeling successful therapists. However, I think the true power of NLP comes in the methodology with which it was formed. It's been described sometimes as an attitude of ferocious curiosity, like how does the expert do what the expert does, an attitude of wanton experimentation, going out there and applying things immediately, and the methodology of being modeling, looking at any result that somebody else produces. And we say that any result somebody produces has structure, no matter how magical the result may appear, whether it's an incredible relationship, whether it's a billion-dollar fortune, whether it's enlightenment, there's structure. And if we break that structure down into manageable chunk sizes, we can make it transferable to us. We can replicate the structure, or we can replicate the same result in a fraction of the time that it took the original expert to do, because we didn't have to go through the years of trial and error. And we also have a superior blueprint for producing that result, because what we model in NLP is we model the basis of personality. What are their values? What are their beliefs? What are their attitudes? What caused them to be able to produce that result? And so that's in a nutshell what NLP is.
Beautiful. So who followed that? Raise your hand.
Uh-oh.
Good. Who didn't follow that? Raise your hand. Be honest. If you didn't follow it, okay.
All right.
All right. So we have one. So if you can do it in 2 sentences, what would it be?
NLP's tools for facilitating rapid and long-lasting change.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great. So now there's another one in here that we mentioned. So let's get this out.
The books he wrote was called Timeline Therapy and the Basis of of timeline therapy, if you're familiar with that. In our programs now, we'll do evolved methods of those types of tools. But he said, and the basis of personality. And so if we think of the problems or the challenges that we have in our lives, it's because of our personality. It's because of our values. It's because of our beliefs. It's because of our attitudes. I always tell people who you are is not your personality. Who you are is the light of pure consciousness that's filtered through the personality that creates the hologram of your personal universe, if you want. And so who you are is much more than your personality, but your personality is malleable. It's responsible for every success you've had. It's responsible for every challenge you've had. And when we start to understand that, we realize that, yes, we can change our values, change what's important to us. If money's not important to you, you're not likely to make much money. If relationships aren't important to you, you're not likely to have good relationships. And then we can have conflicts amongst the values as well. So the inner workings of our psyche and our personality are what project out into the world and create the problems and the successes that we have. So if we want to change those things, the place to change is inside. You've got to be the change that you want to see in the world.
Just quickly, can everybody hear perfectly? Yeah, great. Just making sure. Thank you. So modeling. I want to get some of these terms explained from the get-go, because if you hear them and you don't know what they are, that sometimes allows you to check out, and I don't want you to check out. So when we talk about modeling, what do you mean?
We're talking about reverse engineering success, breaking it down and discovering how to replicate that result, or cloning success even. In the early days of modeling Virginia Satir's family therapy, Leslie Cameron Bandler, who was the former wife of Richard Bandler, one of the co-founders of NLP, said the only thing better than modeling somebody was to become them. And so if you've ever seen a hypnosis stage show where they tell the participant, they're like, you are now Michael Jackson, and they break into dance and they sing, and you go, wow, did they always have that talent? Or is it just because they're under the power of hypnosis? What's really happening there is what's called deep trance identification, where you step into the consciousness of somebody and you get to express yourself in a different way. So there's all sorts of different tools like deep trance identification that can accelerate our success. Here, I'll give you a perfect example. The other day, I was watching a clip. Who's seen the movie Honeymoon in Las Vegas? Anybody see that movie with Nicolas Cage, or am I just really old?
You're really old.
I'm really old, right? So in this movie...
But me too. I'm like... when you put your hand up, it's like, I should not put my hand up.
You're right. Shoot.
One of those
somebody said you got to get more recent examples, Chris. Come on. Some people are my age in here. Anyway, so in Honeymoon in Las Vegas, they were getting married in Las Vegas, and all these Elvis impersonators were coming in. There were about 300 Elvis impersonators in this movie, of course, because they were in Vegas. And they had the youngest Elvis impersonator. He was 4 years old, and they picked a kid for this movie who was really an Elvis impersonator at the age of 4. And he was rocking on the stage and everything. And if you'll start to look at that kid a little bit closer, you might realize that you're looking at Bruno Mars when he was 4 years old. And so when you look at people that have produced extraordinary results, there are oftentimes people that found their really long hill with the really wet snow at a very early age, and they started modeling. They started going out. Eddie Murphy practiced Richard Pryor's routines when he was a kid. So they started at a very early age modeling and stepping into who they wanted to become. And it's one of the fastest ways to learn and one of the fastest ways to upgrade our identity.
So this is an important one, right? So and Chris can correct me if I've kind of... So one of the ways which I see modeling, and I was explaining to someone else before, was that, let's say, that I wanted to manage other people's money. Right? I want to set up a company. I'm good at math, but I don't really know how to manage other people's money. Then maybe I would say, well, who has been the best in the world at managing people's money? It might be Warren Buffett. right? So then with modeling, what you're saying is that then you break down, not physically. Yeah, I don't want to break Warren Buffett down physically.
He's an old guy now.
Yeah, I know, you know, into his set of values. What does he do? What are his habits? What does he do every single day that make him who he is today? What books does he read? How does he spend his free time? How does he research companies? What steps or process, if there's a 9-step, 3-step process, does he use? So by finding out these things, emulating them, mirroring them, or modeling them, then through NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, I can then take on, just like,
or install with hypnosis. Yeah.
With hypnosis, those same traits and habits. So therefore, by replicating him, the chances are I may not be as successful, but I may get to a certain level. I may even be
or
better.
You may surpass it. Yeah,
may surpass it. So this is the power of modeling and the power of NLP. Now imagine that weaponized. I use that word deliberately, though I don't you to worry.
With light. He's saying weaponized with light.
There you go. Weaponized with light. AI. So can you just quickly take us there on how AI, right, optimizes what you used to do,
sure,
and what you do now?
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. I didn't know you were going to go there, but so Warren Buffett himself was a modeler when he went and he studied with. Who here shares that belief that it's easier to make money than it is to spend it? Okay, I'm getting a couple of hands, few hands, right? People are going, no, I'd like. People are going, no, I'd like to have. I'm
looking at the women in the room and saying, I can spend a lot.
I can spend a lot of money, right?
And guys too,
right? Yes. He's not sexist. So that's just one of his beliefs. But you know, if we were to break down all of his beliefs about investing, about how one should invest, about what one should know, we can then take that on and we can replicate it very quickly. Well, in the early days of modeling, and I was designing this training billionaire boot camp that some of the people in the room went to just recently. We run it once a year. Next year, we're doing it in Vietnam on Halong Bay. And so I was designing this training because I wanted to change my life financially. And by the way, just from a results perspective, I was $70,000 in debt at the time. I did my modeling and breaking down of the billionaires, and I did it slow. I was reading, you know, at first I said I was going to read 6 books on each one I was studying. Then I was adding videos in and all sorts of stuff so that I could extract the personality profiles and look at how they thought, how they made decisions, and that sort of thing. And it wasn't because I wanted to be a billionaire, but I wanted to heal a source of pain in my life, which was finances. And they say in modeling that if you model mediocrity, what do you get? Mediocrity. Oh, somebody, what do you get? Mediocrity. You get mediocrity if we model mediocrity. And so there were a lot of people talking about modeling the millionaire mind. I said, well, why model that when we can look at the billionaire mind? And I found that they had a lot of differences. Like millionaires will typically live very frugal lives, tuck money away, and then one day by the age of 56 or so, they'll hit that $1 million mark. Whereas the billionaire mind, they would oftentimes go out and buy whatever they wanted, like Richard Branson buying an island, or Donald Trump, like him or not like him. I don't like him, but Donald Trump going out and buying Miss Universe, right? Or golf courses. They buy lifestyle moves that enhance their money at the same time. Oftentimes, not always, but and so I was like, wow, this is really opening my mind to new types of things. But it did take me a long time. I did that modeling project on the billionaire mind over a long period of time, and it did change things for me. That's what I was going to say, was that I ended up going from being $70,000 in debt to within a 4-year period of time when we launched the business, we were doing, about 4 years, we were doing $22 million a year in global sales, not all through us, it was through promoters, but we were selling $22 million in global sales, and I had never even fathomed doing anything like that. So it radically changed my life when I was doing that modeling. Now, with AI, we can do it infinitely faster. So all I had to do was teach the AI to model, and now that I've taught it, it can, you know, we can do a personality breakdown or modeled beliefs of Warren Buffett in minutes.
So we're going to hold it there. So what he just said is really powerful, right? And in a minute we're going to Bali-fy it, right? Because this is kind of general at the moment. So what he's saying is that he was able to go from 70,000 in debt to 22 million in sales, 4 years later. It took him significant months to model someone to get there. And now he can do the same thing that took him months in minutes. Just just let that sit for a second. Months in minutes, right? So just take that in. Now, where I want to take it somewhere else for now, the thing which I appreciated about doing Billionaire Bootcamp, because look, let me be honest. I'm always honest, but even more honest. I looked at NLP years ago, and personally, what I found was, and this is my stuff, I'm not saying that NLP is this, but this is what my mirror was, how I saw it, was manipulating people. That's how I saw NLP. Remember, it's my stuff, not NLP, but that's how I saw it. So one of the things which I appreciated about what you're doing is that, and you mentioned a certain person, I won't mention his name again, that you were studying and then realized, I really don't like his values. Yeah. So you know what, I'm just going to stop. And I'm going to go study someone's values that I do like, that I do appreciate, that I do admire. Here's a Bali Fire version, because in Bali we're closer to the heart chakra of the world, right? So in Bali, what I feel, and we all share, is that we want positive projects that impact humanity in a powerful, positive way, right? That's what Bali is an incubator for. Right. So one of the things which I appreciated, when I came along, to your course was that, your speech vibe around it all was, how do you get to be the kind of person that you would admire? How do you get to be the kind of person who can shift the world in a powerful way? How do you get to be a person to use these tools to empower you to become that? So why is that? Why did you choose to do that? Because you can use it any way you want, right? To become anyone you want. And this is now going back to your past.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So why do you decide? And you can take it on the 12-year journey where there was ego. Like take it all there. Yeah. Take the time that you need. But I think this is important for people to hear.
Well, I think that, if you ask me why, there was always in my heart when I first got into personal development, I got in not because I wanted to make $1 million or not because I wanted to do anything like that. I did want to live my dreams. I had the desire in my heart, like I always had that desire to live my dreams. And I thought that if I helped other people learn to live their dreams, I'd surely live mine. And that was my initial desire. A lot of people, the first people that I modeled were not billionaires. The first person I modeled was, I was doing a lot of esoteric training at the time, and I modeled Einstein because I wanted to, isn't it obvious? No, just kidding. My team will laugh at the jokes if you guys don't, so just kidding. So I modeled Einstein though, because I wanted to, the biggest question I had on my mind was nuclear arms, no nuclear arms, like that was what was plaguing my consciousness at the time. And then I realized in modeling Einstein that he had the same challenges with it that I had. He had the same questions that I had, and he didn't know what was best for that. In fact, he originally had to suggest to the United States that they develop the atomic bomb because they was afraid that Hitler would do it before the Allies, and so he suggested that. But then afterwards, he regretted it for for the rest of his life, he said. So he had the same challenges. And so part of modeling can be very humbling experience as well. And it can be very humanizing experience because we don't look at, when we start to see a human being, and that's, next I modeled Martin Luther King Jr. because once again, it wasn't money that I was interested in. I wanted to change the world. And I thought, well, who changed the world the most magical way? And for me, MLK is he's my favorite. And so I modeled him. And then you see here's this inspired human being that changes the face of a nation, but he had his own problems, right? The J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the CIA at the time, or the FBI, said that they were going to reveal information about him being a philanderer, that he was cheating in his relationship if he didn't stop speaking out. But you look at him and you say he's one of the most inspired people that ever walked the face of the planet. And look at that. And the interesting thing about MLK was that when he first started, it wasn't about the, what do I want to say? What's the word? It's not philanthropic. It starts with an A. Yeah, thank you. He wasn't altruistic. I mean, it wasn't what was driving him. He wanted to be a preacher because that was where he would get the most status in life. It was only later that he was ignited to something bigger than himself. And then you see and you go, boy, this is a guy that was walking the path, doing what he was supposed to be doing. Same thing with Gandhi. And Gandhi, another enlightened being, he's able to stand there in the face of the challenges that he had, and he was able to, preach nonviolence at that point. And you go, well, but did he have his problems? He had his problems too. His father died while Gandhi was having sex, and so he had all these sexual issues. And like he said, he used to test himself by sleeping with 30 virgins. And so when I was modeling, I tried the same thing, but I didn't pass the test. So just kidding, I did not. But he did have his own issues as well. And so you look at these great human beings that have done amazing things in the world, and you see ultimately that they're human beings. And every one of us is a human being. So we can model great things. And we're not going to get our enlightenment lessons from Warren Buffett necessarily. We're not going to get our wealth building lessons from the Dalai Lama necessarily. But as you and I, as human beings, we can certainly expand our minds and study. And Warren Buffett said, tell me who your heroes are and I'll tell you what your life will be like. And I think, when we can find new heroes that expand our consciousness in new ways, we can make the impact that we want to make in the world. And that does mean looking outside of who we are, who we naturally conceive ourselves to be, because if we just keep modeling who we already are, we just get more of that. And maybe it is the financial lessons of Buffett that you or I need to expand in a different direction.
One of the things where I want to take it, and we're going to get to our takeaways very soon, and we've got questions coming up in about 10 minutes time, 15 maybe. So if you have questions, think of what they might be. So okay, let's go like this, right? So imagine Chris, and again, you get your vibe about him now. Imagine Chris has built this company, 100 mil in sales, is killing the game, right? He's traveling, he's speaking on stages, he's doing this on a very regular basis. Now, despite what he just said, like about modeling others and about following it on, as you mentioned, the human beings at the end of the day. So what happened, and I'm paraphrasing a lot, is that, becoming the most successful company in the world, his mentor and business partner ended up, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, basically selling the company that he built from underneath him. So what then happened was that he was in the wilderness for 12 years with all the feelings of like revenge, of this guy screwed
that
me,
revenge,
right?
Justice,
but
yeah,
thanks for correcting me. Justice and so on. So how is it then that a person who has these skills, abilities and traits can then find themselves in a place where they're seeking justice, where that kind of thing happens to them? This is an important one because human beings, we're fallible, but I think that's what makes us strong, right? Because it's a hero's journey, right? We go through the dark night of the soul, and we've all been there, right? In this room, I think we're over 20 years of age, so I'm pretty sure everyone's been there. So it's part of how do we come back. But without going too deeply into the story, take us through those 12 years and, what was happening for you during that time and what brought you out. Yep. And what did you learn in those 12 years that you are bringing into the world right now?
Yes, sir. Big order. Okay, so I lost the company that I built. We did 100 million in sales, and I was teaching all over the planet. So I was in 3 different time zones in a week, and we had 2,000, 3,000 people in every program that we were doing, and we were doing 22 of them a year. And it's the same weekend that we have coming up here that we're going to gift to you guys. But called me into into his house one day, and he said, we've got to sign some documents. And he said, I need to backdate this one, and backdate that one. And he was like a father to me, and I went and I signed them all. And basically, I didn't find out until 2017, which was 7 years later, when I had him on the stand in court for a tax thing, that those documents had sold the company to him. It said I sold the company to him piece by piece over the years, which hadn't happened like that. And so then he sold off the pieces, and it destroyed me. And I felt like I was jumping out of my skin, because at the same time there was so much going on. Our company in London was the promoter that promoted us out there called it Christopher Howard Events, and yet I had no ownership in the company, and they bankrupted the company at the same time. So they started running their Australian expenses through that company in order to preserve their Aussie company, bankrupted the company in my name, and it looked like I bankrupted. So my partner was selling off things, and they were working together behind the scenes to orchestrate this. And at the time, I was like just mind-boggling that it could be happening, because I went from millions to penniless overnight. And in 2006, I had been on Richard Branson's island, if you're familiar with Richard and the Virgin Companies, and I asked him, I said, how do you handle the stress? And he said, I have no stress, which I couldn't hear because I was so stressed. He said, I have no stress. He said, if the Virgin Companies were to fall out from underneath me today, I just go move to Bali or something. And so here I am. The companies are gone, and I moved to Bali. I moved to Ubud, where you move first, right? And so I moved to Ubud, and it just became all about taking care of myself. And I grew my hair long; it was down to here, and rode my motorcycle through the rainforest, and was at peace finally.
With a helmet.
With a helmet. I know there was no helmet. No, I'm sorry, buddy. I rode my, and so but the healing was so difficult for me, and this was a place of healing. I mean, I was just doing everything. I was doing the breath work and doing the waterfall purifications and doing everything you could possibly, seeing the healers, but it was very challenging for me. And they say when you're stuck in a problem, all you see is the what? I can't hear you. Thank you. The problem, right? Because you can't read the label from the inside of the jar. And I was inside the jar. And so I had all these tools for transformation, yet I wasn't able to apply them in my own life. And, when we learn a skill set like NLP, you're learning a bunch of tools to help people to make rapid change, and it up-levels your consciousness so you could never have some of those problems again. But it's been said that a person cannot long be their own therapist, because we're inside of it. And so I stayed inside of it, and I looked at every methodology I could. I was looking at esoteric methodologies, couldn't figure it out, couldn't crack the code. Fast forward, and I had a couple of different points that started to set me free. I started to raise my vibration. One point, I started to change the story and the narrative that I was telling myself, because I was looking for justice. But as long as I was looking for justice, I was looking at them outside as being what I had to change in order to be free. And so nothing changed until I changed the narrative about me and looked for my responsibility. And it was tough, because I knew that I needed to get to cause, but I couldn't get there. And the thing that really finally set me free, there were a couple of things where I had some good breakthroughs, but fast forward, it's 2022, and I was in Poland, visiting a girlfriend in Poland, and she was a web developer. It was November 2022, just before Christmas, and she was playing with something, and I said, what's that? She said, oh, it's ChatGPT. I said, well, what is that? And so I looked at it, and I started playing with it, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then I thought, that was the month it first came out. And I thought, I did what most people do. I wrote some songs and wrote some poems, and I do what you do. And then I started thinking, boy, if I could train this to do my techniques on me, I can set myself free. And after 12 years of being stuck, it worked. And I was able to use the tools to set myself free. And so now my passion is teaching how to do this, because now you can get 100 or 1,000 different intelligences with each little chat bot that does a different thing, working to solve problems rapidly, and 1,000 different hands building for you rapidly. And for me, it's magic. It's insane. And so, yeah, that's it.
Thank you, my brother. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through these 3 takeaways quickly, and then we're going to go to questions, right? So remember, if you have a question, get your phone out, write it down. We won't think you're being rude. If you want to be on your phone, you can pretend you're writing a question, right? Either way, it's fine.
Yes.
Okay, takeaway number 1. So why you're stuck, and it's not what you think, right? I think we've been through part of that one there.
Yeah.
But if there's anything else you want to...
So the question is, what is...
Yeah, so why you're stuck. So this is in the context.
Why I'm stuck or why they're stuck?
Why you're stuck.
Why
plural.
we're stuck.
Why
plural.
we're stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we get stuck because one of the biggest reasons why we're stuck is because we create constructs in our consciousness that keep us stuck. It's the narratives that we have in our mind. I created a catch-22 for myself at one point where it was like, because my partner kept attacking when after the business thing happened, hacking my computers and stuff and trying to figure out how to stop my business, I thought I'm going to stop having goals because then he can't tear them down and my only goal is going to be justice. And that was one of the biggest mistakes that I ever made, because now they say where there is no vision the people perish, and I gave away my vision and I gave away my power in that. And so there was a no-win. It was a catch-22. I could not win that. And I think oftentimes we set ourselves up with these catch-22s in our own consciousness and the narratives, but the good news is, once again, we can solve these things so much more rapidly now because, as you said, we've referred to the hero's journey. Well, I've got a chat bot now that takes somebody through and creates a whole new hero's journey that gives you the end of the story, the happy ending of the story, which I couldn't see at the time. So, yeah.
You know, and with these ones, you're doing great. We just go for one thing because there's many things,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Break the cycle you keep repeating. Now, this one I'm going to go to you. Just be honest. I won't ask you what the cycle or the pattern is, I promise. But if you feel that you have a pattern that you want to break, just raise your hand. Be honest. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay. So break
So
the
it's not
cycle.
just me. Okay, good.
So break the cycle you keep repeating, right? So if the same challenges keep resurfacing, discover the unconscious mechanism behind the loop and how to collapse it. So try to get that with one example.
Well, I think it's the same example that we were just talking about. Honestly, it's the narratives that we hold that keep us stuck. The ideas that we formulate where we say, well, I want, money's important, but it's not as important as love, and it's not as important as happiness, and so it's not really important. And we create these constructs that have no bearing in reality, but that's the map that we navigate the playing field of life with. And so it's, Carl Jung said famously that until we take that which is unconscious and make it conscious, we'll continue to project it out onto the world, and we'll call it fate when it's reflected back at us. And so the constructs that we've created are both conscious as well as unconscious, and we just got to get to that. We can change the narrative and change our life.
Love it.
Yeah.
Number 3, install the you who doesn't struggle anymore. Transformation isn't mindset, it's identity. Learn how to install the version of yourself that moves with clarity, flow, and power.
So one of the things that I recognized when I looked back on my life and looked at what were the real causes from my perspective of the collapse of my business was I saw that I had this anxiety, that I was constantly ridden with anxiety. And I think it was probably my biggest addiction, was being addicted to this anxiety. That's what I asked Richard Branson about. How do you handle the stress? Because I had so much stress in my life. Everything was a life or death situation. And I get so amped up. When I came to Bali, I didn't want to hear the word business anymore because it had become such a negative charged anchor for me. And that was because of the chronic anxiety that I had. And I remember watching Richard Branson. He was so playful when he's lying in his hammock and he's got no shoes on and he's talking about fuel emissions on Virgin Galactic and making sure they're green enough, and he's coming down and connecting, and we race sailboats around the island. And to see somebody that was so playful wasn't within my grasp. It wasn't within something that I could contemplate being this pioneer in business. But now what I can say is I'm playful, I'm relaxed, like I enjoy business, I live into it in a far more powerful way. And for me, it comes down to ultimately the narratives. That's a big chunked up way to look at it. But for me also, it's the excitement of what's happening and what you can do with AI now. So when I teach programs, when I train coaches these days, I largely train them through AI to chain different chat bots together to help people produce superior results. We are going to gift you, and he'll talk about it in a second, we're going to be gifting you tickets to our weekend that's coming up. It's an $1,800 weekend. We're going to gift you a set of tickets. But I also provide you with AI tools surrounding it so you can begin to play with these and begin to learn how to utilize the AI to transform your own life. Because for the first time, you really can. You can create changes that are mind-blowing, and you can do it by yourself, which I think is amazing.
So let's go to the course. Before questions, there's our questions in a few minutes. So can you break down, number one, when it's happening, what is it, what will people get by coming?
Yes. So we've got a set of 30 tickets. So it's first come, first serve on these tickets, but you'll want to grab them quickly. You can scan the QR code, or it's also on the sign out there that's sitting on the, some of the tables. They've got it there. There's 2 QR codes out there. One's just for our community. This is for the actual event. So if you want to grab tickets to the event, make sure you grab them. Make sure you take a picture of that QR code and grab those tickets fast, because they are going and it will sell out. We've got a couple more presentations we're doing here, and there's only 200 seats at the location. So it's going to be at Ash Nuuanu Creative City. Who's been to Nuuanu before, by the way? Okay, better question. Who's never been to Nuuanu? You guys are going to love it. It's beautiful. It's an amazing venue, amazing location. This is it's a 3-day weekend. We start this Saturday, so it goes from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 9 a.m. to 6. I know it's a lot of time, but we need every ounce of that time to do the work that we're doing there. So what happens is you come in, you pick the area of life where you want to have the most propulsion forward, physically, emotionally, spiritually, or financially, and we'll help you to pinpoint everything that's not working, both consciously as well as unconsciously, break through it with accelerated change technologies, and gain massive propulsion forward. So we were talking about, I was just talking with my friend Gareth about another friend of mine, Jack DeLosa in Sydney, and he came in and he had the dream to launch his own business when he came to Breakthrough to Success. He now has it's a $50 million business. It's one of the biggest businesses out there. It's called The Entourage, in doing personal training and events. We've had many hugely successful people in Australia and London come through these events. I had another friend of mine, Danny Gurgis. It was his birthday just 2 days ago, and so I was doing a Facebook Live, and he jumped on, and I said, "Danny, it's so good to see you." And they reminded me he came to Breakthrough. He had a dream of owning his own island, and now he does in Vanuatu, and he's opening it up as an island resort, and it's just amazing. So the visions that you come in there with, be prepared to create them. And we're going to have an amazing event. You're invited. Grab it. It's you plus one friend, and you can get your tickets with the QR code.
One thing which I want to do before we go to questions is, and again, I'm laughing because I know what's coming. He doesn't. Because again, for those of you who sat in this seat, there's a few Sadi and a few others here who've sat in this seat. I just go with what comes up, right? And I trust it these days. So what I'd love you to do is to do a little exercise with everybody.
Okay.
Just so, not too long, but just so they get a feel for something. So they can leave tonight with something that they feel like, I get a little layer. I can peel a layer off, all right? Then after that, we'll go to questions.
Okay, perfect. I didn't know this was coming, and that's totally fine. Here's what I'd love everybody to do. Let's get a specific goal in mind. That's the easiest way to work with this. So it may be something that you really want, or something that you want but you have no clue how you're going to make it happen. And we'll do a quick condensed version of this. It'll be an induction to connect you to people and resources to help you make that goal happen. So the important thing on your part is to just get a goal in mind. Can be a big goal, could be a 1-year goal, could be a 2-year goal, a 1-week goal, but something that you really want. And please close your eyes. And with your eyes closed now, I want you to imagine, if you would, rising all the way up above now. Just imagine rising all the way up in the air. So as you look down on now seems so small and insignificant down below you. And you've got the past stretched off in one direction, the future another. And you're way up in the air. And I want you to float even higher than that. And even higher than that. Beyond the heavens. Dancing amongst the stars. The Pleiades, Milky Way, and even Gemini. Dancing amongst the stars. Now, this is about the future, So I want you to turn and look off toward the future across the broad expanse of time. And as you turn and you look off toward the future, I want you to imagine zooming rapidly and unconsciously all the way out into the future, all the way out into the infinite future of time. And notice if you can find the light at the end of your future time stream. And as you go forward, right into the light, allow your entire body to disappear in the light, becoming pure light and pure energy. The smallest part of which you can conceive becomes pure light and pure energy. All the way down to the molecular level, the quantum level, the space between the space, becomes pure light and pure energy. And remember, you are the light. And the light is you. Now, just allow the thinnest shell of your body to begin to reform around the light of you. Yet it can remain hollow and infinite so as to contain all of the light that's you. And now allow the light of you to begin to rapidly expand until it fills the entire room that we're in. The light remaining infinite can continue to expand until it fills all of Bali. And then allow the light of you to reach outward to the other continents, Europe, Africa, all of Asia, Australia, North America, South America, until the entire planet disappears in the light. And remember, you are the light, and the light is you. And you are the planet, and the planet is you. Now, allow the light of you to reach outward toward the sun. Make a tiny hole right inside the sun and go right inside the sun and find the light behind the light. And as the light of you becomes one with the light of the sun, allow it to reach outward to the other planets in the solar system, and beyond those to the other stars, and beyond those to the other stars, until the light of the universe becomes one with the light of you. And remember, you are the light, and the light is you. And you are the universe, the entire ocean in a drop. And the universe is you. Now, there's a goal that you have. There's a reason why we're here, you and I. And as you bring that goal to mind, I'd like to suggest that you can begin to make all the connections you need to make at the conscious level and the unconscious level that will allow this goal you're working on now to be massively successful. And notice that you can make that connection if you just look straight up above your head. That's right, making that connection at the unconscious level, making all the connections you need to make. Whatever it is you need will be supplied to you because of your connection to the infinite that will allow this goal you're working on now to be massively successful, making all the connections you need to make and will continue to make tonight while you sleep with no direct suggestions from me now. Making all the connections you need to make. And notice that those connections can be made in the form of pictures, sounds, feelings, and ideas. Ideas that will lead you in the direction that the kind of direction that the universe is demanding for. Whatever it is you need will be supplied to you because of your connection to all that there is that will allow this goal you're working on now to be massively successful. Whatever it is you need will be supplied to you. Your unconscious mind can know whatever it is you need to know. Your conscious mind can remember. Whatever it is you need will be supplied to you. Now, perhaps there's a person or some people who need to assist you in making this goal be massively successful. So as you bring these people to mind, you may know these people or you may not. It doesn't really matter because way down deep inside at the unconscious level, we are all one, are we not? So as you bring these people to mind who will assist you in making this goal be massively successful, perhaps you know them, and perhaps they too may know others who can assist you, and they too may know others, and they too may know others. And I want you to notice that whatever it is you need to say to these people can be instantaneously communicated because of your connection to all that there is, and that they too may be risen to the same level of inspiration that you're already feeling now, and that they too may know others who can assist you, and they too may know others, and they too may know others. And now I want you to imagine a ray of light, like a beam of light, shooting forth from the space between your eyebrows, shooting out to each and every one of these individuals, filling each and every one of these individuals with light, so that they too may be risen to the same level of inspiration that you're already feeling now. And perhaps they too may know others, and they too may know others. Making all the connections you need to make at the conscious level. Whatever it is you need will be supplied to you because of your connection to all that there is. And we stretch in here, but the true change occurs tonight while you sleep. Now, once again, just allow the thinnest shell of your body to reform around the light. Yet your body can remain hollow and infinite so as to contain all of the light that's you. And now it's time to begin to come back from the light. But it's okay. You know where it is. You can come back at any time that you want. It's time to just begin to come back from the light, almost all the way back to now. Almost all the way back to now, because there's one thing left to do. Or perhaps there's two. You see, this is about the future. So I want you to just turn and look off toward the future. And as you do, go ahead and notice hundreds and hundreds of pictures of total success of this goal you're working on now, dropping down into your time stream like tiny diamonds of light. Hundreds and hundreds of pictures of total success of this goal you're working on now, dropping down into the stream of time, causing it to become brilliant, to sparkle, to become alive. And now, knowing all that's out there waiting for you, find yourself all the way back toward now, above now. Float right back down into now, but remain with your eyes closed. And in a moment, you'll open your eyes. Not yet, but in a moment. And when you do, you'll look at the world through new eyes. The eyes of someone who has wild anticipation of how you'll be behaving differently tomorrow, now that you've changed. So now, go ahead and open your eyes. Come right back into the room. Give yourselves a thunderous round of applause. Yay! Good job, guys. Hope you had a good trip. We didn't even use any magic mushrooms. We saved those. Yes.
All right, so what we're going to do, we have the mic, the third mic. Good. Batteries there, yeah? So before we start batteries, we're going to change them. Any questions, raise your hands, okay? And we'll bring it to you. Question at the back, Pierre. Yeah, so Nick, just stand up, mate. Nick, look at the back. Yeah, okay. So by the way, with questions, this is what I'd like you to do. So it's okay to plug yourself. Hi, my name's Rob. My company is Curry Life Group. My question is, right, so in other words, not too much of a backstory. Let's just go straight to the question. That way we have more value. And then for you, my brother, the hard task for you is to try to keep the answers to 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah, good luck.
Thanks, guys. Chris.
Yes, sir.
A hypnotist as well. Been doing this for 15 years. I love what you do.
Yes.
So interesting. Someone else doing it to me, what I normally do to other people. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
For people that don't know hypnosis, don't know NLP, that are new to this world, if you were to only be able to give one tool, one tip, one trick, one thing that would be able to change their narrative in their mind in an instant, what would that be?
Ultimately, it comes to getting to cause, right? And we know that when we're on the effect side of the equation, of the cause and effect equation, we've got reasons, excuses, blame, shame, and justification. And as long as we're living with reasons, excuses, blame, shame, and justification, the narrative that we have about our life is about other people. So moving to cause is the most powerful thing we can do. How we get there is, there's many ways to do it. One of the most powerful things that I did a life assessment. And for those of you, for the 12-step fans, it's like a 4th step on steroids, right? So it's a life assessment of where have I done myself harm in my life? Where have I reduced my ability to thrive, and without going into anybody else, a story about anybody else? So it's changing that underlying narrative. Quite frankly, the best way that I do that now is with the chatbots that we've created, because I've designed specific ones just to get in there and just to change the narrative around your life. So I would say the chatbots.
Thank you. Other questions? Any question? Yeah, raise your. I know there are more questions, so you can be in one of 3 places, right? One could be, I'm still sleeping from what happened. That could be one place, right? And it's okay. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Another one might be, that's a silly question. Like, I can't answer that. What I recommend is that you do, because other people in this room have the same question, but don't have the courage to ask that question. Number 3 is that I'll be very kind with you and gentle. It's okay. No one's going to be embarrassed today. So over to you.
In South Park, they say there's no such thing as stupid questions, only stupid people. No, just kidding.
South Park.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to say thank you so much. It was incredible. I had tears in my eyes. It was like finally I found my tribe of people. I was
you're awesome.
looking for so long, really. And as a very young and just starting entrepreneur and business owner, I feel like a lot of anxiety in myself. And I learned techniques to calm my nervous system, but especially also after this meditation and amazing guidance from you, I felt like my nervous system was like it's not able to hold this new version of me. What kind of, I don't know, I know it's hard to do it in like 60 seconds, but what suggestions or tips do you have to calm the nervous system when it feels like the money is coming, the new opportunities are coming? What should I do with it? I don't know.
Well, it's such an exciting space. I think that's super cool. I mean, it's like there's worse problems that you could have, right? than being super excited about your future.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, the anxiety, like there's all sorts of different techniques that I learned over the years. I will say that ultimately what did change things, and I'm going to sound like a broken record right now, it's changing the construct that I had in my mind is what, changing the story that I was telling myself about my life. When I was younger, for me, I got this recently. My self-belief was based on the fact that I was willing to do more than anybody else was willing to do, and that's why I knew I'd be successful. And that meant I was willing to push myself into the grave in order to do it, because I didn't matter. I wasn't the important thing. It was the dream. It was the mission. It was everything that I was on. And I fully thought I'll live till 50 years old or something, because that doesn't matter. What matters is that I went out on legend, right? But then I woke up, I said, oh shit, don't think that way, right? That hurts you, that does you damage. But that was the construct that I had in my mind that caused me to live with that chronic anxiety, because it was never enough. And when I changed my construct, my whole world changed. I've got one of the tools that I've got for you, and you know what I'm going to do? When you guys sign up for the course, I'm going to give you also a free membership to our EpicLife.ai that has a discovery level. It's a free membership on there that has chatbots for you, and I want you to go through the Reframe My Life chatbot, because it will change the way that you look at your entire life. And when you change that, everything changes for you. It'll change the states that you live in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it.
Now, Alistair, are you still here? Yeah, stand up. Yeah, Christian, put your hand up. Christian, put your hand up. Christian.
Oh, Christian.
Christian, put your hand up. Look at Alistair. Say hi. Shake his hand. All right. So, Alistair's going to have a chat to you after about property stuff. There you go. Done.
Oh, good.
All right. Next question.
Oh, Alistair has a question.
Oh, Alistair, you have a question?
I might have a question.
I just thought you were standing up because I said stand up. Okay, even better.
While I'm standing up, I may as well ask a question. Good to meet you, by the way. Yeah. When it comes to programming, so I've done the modeling. I know who and what I am modeling.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of reading into Joe Dispenza.
Mm-hmm.
He uses meditation and daily meditation to reprogram the neural pathways to then believe you are this new reality of yourself. Is that something similar to what you teach? And if not, how do you program or reprogram this new reality?
Thank you. The Joe Dispenza stuff, it parallels what we do a lot, because we teach a lot of quantum physics in our advanced trainings and stuff. We go into the quantum mechanical nature of reality and all of that sort of thing. There's so many different tools that are there. Some of my very favorite tools. Who here is a Neville fan? Raise your hand if you're a Neville fan. Okay, if you're not a Neville fan and you haven't read Neville, you want to. You could go get the book, The Power of Awareness, online tonight. They've got royalty-free copies because it's public domain, but it's called The Power of Awareness. Highly recommend it. It's my favorite book in personal development. And the entire book is based on the concept of living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Living in that feeling, which paves neural pathways. I mean, when we do hypnosis, what are we doing? We're paving new neural pathways for transformation. We might be, like if we're doing smoking cessation, helping somebody to stop smoke, we might put a block on an old road they used to take, and then we might pave a new neural pathway that makes it compelling to get in shape, in the best shape of their life, change their values, help them to make health a higher value. So we go in there and we repattern different things. But one of the simplest ways to forge change is to bathe in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And Neville talked about it a lot from an identity perspective, because he realized that your identity creates your behaviors. Who you perceive yourself to be, your self-concept, creates your behaviors and then therefore determines your results. So if we start from an identity perspective, it's like Teddy Roosevelt said, I was never a brave man, so I just acted as if I was a brave man until I became one. And that's, acting as if is a big concept in hypnosis as well as NLP as well. If we can get people to act as if they've already got the result. Well, what if you could act as if you already, you bathed in the feeling of the wish fulfilled and you just went out and started acting as if you were the person that you choose to be. You were the highest divine expression of who you could be, and you bathed in that feeling until you crowded everything else out of your consciousness, and that was all that was left. If the chain of being, doing, and having always starts with being, then that's one of the most powerful tools that we can use to begin to forge change. It's a simplistic answer, but it's an answer. Yeah.
Before we go to Ben's question, thank you, brother Alistair. So, two things. One is, remember that after this, you have the opportunity to connect with the person that you saw earlier on, that you're like, you know what? I need to speak to that person. That's coming soon. We're going to do a photo each, and then everyone's going to jump in a photo together, right? Just so you know what's coming. Number two, before my brother Ben's question, I have a friend in the audience, right?
Oh, cool.
And she is afraid of speaking in public, right? When she speaks normally to people, she can speak well, and everyone understands her. She's a beautiful lady, great smile. Now, but when she's in front of people, the anxiety comes, right? So without plugging your course for speakers, but just if there was something that you could give to her that could start her to unravel maybe what's going on, maybe a tool.
Does she have a dog named Gamora?
Oh, perhaps.
Okay.
but let's go. Because public speaking is the number one fear that people have. So it's not just the one, it's the many.
Right. Yeah. So I always take, the fear of public speaking is a two-sided coin. You've got state management, your ability to manage your state on the platform, and then you've got there's state management, and then there's knowing what to do strategically and tactically. How do you operate on a platform? So there's both of those things. So for example, if somebody took piano lessons for, let's reverse it. Let's say somebody asked you to play a piano concerto, but you had never played before. You might feel fear around that. Right? It's like, no, I've got to play in front of this audience. I've never played before. How am I going to do that? You might feel fear, right? If we look at the other side of the coin, we don't want to talk to her right now. She's the one that needs to hear it. Oh, not you. I'm not putting you out.
No pressure.
No pressure. On the other side of the coin, so there's the technical ability, the skill set that you have. And on the other side of the coin is your state management, right? So you want to get both of those things together. If you understand how to manage your state, and now also that will come from the competence of the technical ability. One of the biggest reasons why people have a fear of public speaking is because they technically don't know how to do it. But when you without plugging my speakers training, it's kind of hard, because one of the things that we do is we layer in 40 behaviors of the most outstanding speakers on the planet, so that you find yourself doing those behaviors without conscious thought. When you're now thinking about, I've got to move this, I've got to work on the stage in this way, or I've got to elicit a certain state of mind and emotion in the audience. because I always tell people speaking is not about what you say. I have no idea what I'm going to say. He doesn't know what he's going to say, right? But we know how we want you to feel. And so if I'm focused on getting you to feel inspired, if I'm focused on getting you to feel driven, if I'm focused on getting you to feel warm and connected, then I'm not in my own head thinking about myself. Right. So all of those things are technical skills that we can get. So ultimately it comes down to competence. And so if you go in and you develop your speaking competence, your speaking confidence will rise. The natural backlying speaking confidence will rise. It'll go through the roof. I don't get scared when I speak. I did at one time, but I developed the competence in the speaking. Then you've got the state management part. I have very simple strategy that I use before I get out onto stage, whenever I'm speaking on stage in front of audiences. And my strategy is I will think of the emotional states that I want to elicit in the audience, because that's the most important thing. So I'll go back and think of a time when I felt warm and connected. I don't need to feel confident. I don't need to feel powerful. People think that that's what they've got to feel. No, I got to feel warm and connected with my audience. I've got to feel inspired. If I want the audience to be inspired, I've got to be inspired. I've got to feel enthusiastic. If I'm enthusiastic, the audience will be enthusiastic. If I'm decisive, the audience will be decisive. So I go back and I think of times when I felt that way. And then there's some other techniques that I'll use also in between that I won't go into right now. But the final thing I do before I get on stage, I modeled from a good friend of mine who used to hold the audience in the palm of his hand. And I said, how do you do that? Which is our modeling question. How do you do that? And I got ferociously curious. And he said, Chris, I was hoping you'd ask. And he said, I have a belief that everybody that comes in is going to get whatever it is that they need to get. And I also have a belief that everybody is here for a reason. And he said, and my belief is they're all going to get what they came here to get. They're going to hear what they came here to hear. Those are two powerful beliefs. If we could install those beliefs, it changes where we're coming from. And he said, and the last thing I do before I get on stage is I channel God, I channel Source, and I ask God to flow through me. And I took his strategy on. Every time before I installed the beliefs, I looked for the states, and every time before I go on stage, I would channel God. And Mother Teresa was once asked, how do you work amongst the abject poverty that you live in? And she said, when I look into the eyes of the people looking at me, she said, I see the eyes of God looking back at me. And so in that sense, it's just God healing itself. And when we have the right strategies, when we develop the right competence, when we have the right strategy for where we're coming from, we're no longer in our head thinking about ourselves or thinking about anything inside. We're totally outside. Fritz Perls said, lose your mind and come to your senses. And when we do that, we can become powerful. Most people, if they say you earn the right to speak through education or experience. We all have experience. If I asked you to tell me about an event in your life, you'd probably be able to speak about it because you're the expert in it. And you could tell me the whole story. So when people get into their head about public speaking, maybe what they really need to learn is how to tell their stories. Maybe they need to learn some strategies that make it a little bit easier. So long answer short.
No, good.
Short answer, long.
So, before Ben's question, last time I'm going to ask you to raise your hands, which of course is not the last time I'm going to ask you to raise your hands. Who is an accomplished speaker here? Who's comfortable with speaking on stages? Yeah. Great. So, if you want to take it to the next level, I'm not going to ask him to speak about it now, but speak to him afterward. He has, which I ask him not to plug. It's interesting that you managed to do it, right? Because most people they're so like in the zone, blah, 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 take my course, right? But jokes aside, if you want to go to the next level, have a chat to Chris and his team, because there's another level that you can get to. Brother Ben.
The course is for 3 days, 6th,
Yes.
7th, and 8th.
Yes, sir.
Are you running the course the whole time, or have you got other people helping you?
You're like, can I take that much of this guy? Yeah, I am running the course the whole time. So it's and it's a transformational program that systematically builds piece by piece. We'll do inductions and processes like we did here, but we'll go deeper and we'll do a lot of processes that go back in the past to help you heal things, program things in. It's really a potent weekend. People love it. It's like a refrigerator. You only get out of it what you put into it. So if you come to it with a lazy attitude, or you just kind of give it a little bit, or you say, I'll just poke my head in, you're going to get lazy results. But if you come in and you plug in for the whole weekend, you'll get incredible results.
Because I'm all about breaking barriers. I've been on quite a lot of courses.
Awesome.
Through the courses, no disrespect.
No,
I've
that's
just
fine.
met you today.
Yes, sir.
But you get 2-3 days, different speakers plugging different courses. Obviously, this is one course, NLP.
Sure.
NLP is something I've tried to look into before by reading books. I never really connected to it, and I felt that I needed something where somebody was actually going to relay the story or the message or the tools to actually enable. So I'm all about breaking the barriers to learn. But I think you'll love it. Yeah. But at the same time, want the safety, because anxiety is a word that came up a lot tonight, and I've got a lot of anxiety, just current circumstances, but also going into something that I cannot control. Should I say?
Yeah.
Brother Ben, I know you got something to say, but thank you. You know, I mean, the lady that shared earlier on, thank you, because again, you know, this is like a collective vortex of energy without getting too Ubudian on you, but it is, right? So the fact that people can stand up or sit down and speak what's in their heart and speak their anxiety into the public sphere allows other people to do the same, you know, and that's a beautiful thing, because then it just brings the room to a level of frequency and energy that's healing for people, whether they ask a question or not, but is also insightful for others. So there are people here probably getting breakthroughs just through the responses, through the questions or the comments that people are making, you know, which I absolutely love. The other thing I wanted to say, because you brought something up, and again, I'm not speaking for Chris, I'm speaking for myself. My job here as a host, founder of SpeakuP Monday, isn't to put words in Chris's mouth, or whoever's sitting here, would be there one person or many. My role is for you to see who they really are. My role is for you to see who they really are. And then you decide what it is you want to do with that. You know, so for example, you know, if people here feel that, you know what, I like him, I like what he has to say, you know, I want to give him a try. You know, then speak to the guys here in pink. I love that color. Barbie and Pierre and the posse. Over you too, thank you. Right, speak to them. If you feel that this is not for me, you know, then don't. You know, I mean, obviously, for those who feel that this is not for me, maybe one of the things is to kind of ask yourself, and we all know the answers, right? Is this out of fear, or is this out of genuine knowing? Because to me, if we say this is Mecca, I don't follow Mecca necessarily, but I follow, you know, but there's more than one way. This is one of those ways. I don't believe there's only one way, right? For me, I have multiple ways to get there, but it's whichever one feels right to you, or you kind of know, I should go deeper with this. And then he's got a free course, which is usually X amount of dollars, so it's quite expensive, but free for you. This is a QR code here. Go for it, right? I spent some time with him, Billionaire Boot Camp. I had a fantastic time. I met some great people, learned some incredible things, which I still learn today, which I still use today. But that was my experience. Doesn't necessarily say it's going to be yours, but if you're feeling something, then just go do it, right? That's what I say. Now, was there something you wanted to add to what Ben was saying?
No, I think it's beautiful. It is me, and I think you're going to have a good experience if you just come in with an open mind. Like I feel it for you. I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Other questions? Raise your hand. Yes. Oh, you got the mic already. And then to my sister over here. Cool. Yeah.
Thanks, Robert and Chris.
These are my lawyers, by the way.
My name's Gareth Benson.
Malakat
I'm here to support
Malakat Hukum, right here in Bali. We'll get Sari to give it a quick spiel in a minute. For two reasons. Number one, I love her. She's my sister. Number two, I know her well. I've just met Gareth recently. Apparently, I put them together. Matchmaker. But we're going to some other time. I know it's a matchmaker, but it comes naturally. What can I say? What can I say? But again, you know, this is about spotlighting and highlighting people doing good things. Right? So, brother, it's your question.
Look, Chris, firstly, thank you so much for vulnerably sharing your story. In terms of particularly, you know, with respect to, you know, the legal conundrum and to assist startup founders alleviate their anxieties, what's 3 points of advice you would say for startups around legals? to avoid some of the pain that you felt
around legals? I was just in their office beforehand, and just before this meeting, I went and I was talking to them about legal stuff, and yeah, I mean, and I told them, I said, it's always good to talk to lawyers, and then you feel better, because you can just kind of dump things off, and so it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about that, and I don't have to worry about that, and it's like, so I'd say get a lawyer, make sure that you work with lawyers. Like, one of the things that I thought that I had a mistake about was that my corporate attorney was my attorney. I owned 70% of the company. I mistakenly thought the corporate attorney was my attorney. So my business partner, who owned 30, went to him and said, well, you're here to represent the best interests of the company. And he said, so he was able to manipulate it in a way where the lawyer was working with him. And it was like, wow, I thought about that all wrong. So I would say that you want to get an attorney, but you also want to have a personal attorney that looks over everything. And that was another mistake that I had made. So I made lots of mistakes, was in not reading the documents, sitting there and signing documents without having an attorney look at them, without having an attorney that kept copies of the documents for us. So there were several mistakes that I made on that front. And I made those mistakes with somebody that was like a friend of the family. But when a relationship ends, it doesn't end because things happen great. And so if I could tell young Chris back there in the day, I'd say make sure that the legalities that you look at are even more powerful with the people that I perceive to be family than the people that I perceive not to be.
Tough lesson. So before we go to one sister, we go to this sister. So Sari, so just give you a bit of direction, right? So just tell people, you have about 30 seconds, no pressure.
Just a quick question.
Malaikat Hukum, but let's go Malaikat Hukum first and the question after. So just quickly tell them what Malaikat Hukum is, what it does. Just so they know.
Okay, my name is Nilu Sukasari.
To them, stand up. Let them see you. Yeah.
Hello everyone. My name is Nilu Sukasari. We have a law firm here in Canggu, here in Brawa. It's called Malaikat Hukum. It's Angel of Justice. So for anyone to come here to our practice, hopefully you can get justice in Indonesia, because I do believe that Indonesia is going to the right direction for a fair and just, equitable Indonesia. So please have trust in Indonesia. Thank you.
Now you had a question?
Yes, I do. Thanks, Chris. It's very powerful. I am NLP virgin, to be honest. But my question is it all in the mind? First, that the question, because it seemed like mindset and everything.
Yes, it is.
The reason why I say that, in terms of I'm Balinese, there is also like body pains.
Yes.
Like all the stuff happen to you is actually in your body. So
yes.
For us, we release it for our body, like Reiki, Chi, things like that. That's for me now. It's not all in the mind. It's also all in. Some is in the body as well. So it has to be like body, mind, and spirit.
Sure.
And the other question is, it occurs to me there is Eastern and Western difference when doing healings. Western is very much articulated in words and everything. Like you're very articulate. I'm like, so I'm thinking you're the best speaker I've been met.
Well,
no, that's true. But in terms of Eastern healing, there is things that you actually feel,
yes.
Things you smell, things you hear. In terms of vocabulary, it's not as much as the English language vocabulary. We right. have different thought processing. I think it occurs to me that Eastern and Western healing just different polaris, I would say.
Yeah.
So did you get the two questions?
So the first one was, is it all in the mind? Now, as far back as 1500 AD, Hermes Trismegistus, who was an alchemist, wrote on a tablet of emerald what were supposed to be all the secrets of the known universe on the emerald tablet. And amongst the secrets, it said that which is above corresponds to that which is below, and that which is below corresponds to that which is above, which essentially means that there's nothing outside of you, that it's the same stuff that makes up you that makes up the stars and the planets in the sky. So from a quantum perspective, if we want to go quantum, and quantum physics backs up what a lot of metaphysics has said, is that it's all there's what we call non-locality of information. The information's everywhere, which means all the information necessary to create the entire universe could be contained within your thumbnail. So I don't separate the mind from the body per se. I say it's all one, and from a metaphysical perspective, and that's if we want to chunk up. It just depends on how we chunk. There was a analytical philosopher named there was a book that was written called Science and Sanity in 1933 by a man by the name of Alfred Korzybski. And Alfred said that a lot of the problems that we have, and this kind of goes into the second question as well. He said a lot of the problems that we have of sanity are problems of language, because we have language that creates false separations and things like that don't really exist. Like, you can't separate the mind from the body empirically. You can't take the mind out of the body. However, you can separate them linguistically. So language we created to represent our world, but according to Korzybski, the language that we have does not adequately represent the world that we live in. So we call something a problem of religion, or we call it a problem of philosophy, or a problem of anatomy, or a problem of allopathic medicine. But is it possible that it could be a problem of all those things? Right, but we separate them and we categorize them, and people will use language in a way that actually creates a lot of the ailments that we have. So I think that mind, body, it's all the same to me. And do you want to hit things on different levels in order to make sure that change is created? Yes. I would say that your body mind is the other 95% of you, because neurobiologists say that it's about 5% that's conscious. So your unconscious mind, or the body mind, is the part where you really want to make real change. And when you can make change at the 95% and you can move yourself forward towards your goals with the 5%, that's where you've got power. But that is the body mind. So I hope that answers the first question. And then the second question about Eastern and Western healing, I see them as separations that don't even really need to exist either, because for me, it's all healing. So like when I develop my chatbots now that I'm creating with all the AI stuff, they're just as infused with Eastern principles and with spiritual principles and energetic healing as they are with NLP. So I haven't isolated it to NLP. That was just where I came from. But the tools can be used with all the different modes of healing. I think that's where we get real power. Yeah.
Now we pass it back over here to our sister. Thank you, Sadi. All right, next sister.
Merci beaucoup. Yes, thank you very much, Chris.
Yes.
So thank you again to everyone. Maybe my question is going to be similar to her, but my name is Ibu Jero Ganga. If you want to see my pages, my name is Ibu Jero Ganga. So as I'm a medium as well, so I'm a medium clairvoyance, and I've been practicing this for let's say 12 years. So you've been doing this already, I don't know. You are saying you've been through all the steps, okay? So my question is specifically, I think in this room, there are also many people having this right now. And could you share me the method? As myself, I'm using ancestral method. When I reconnect to my ancestors, so it could be your ancestors, or it could be also the ancestors in Bali. So it's very universal. So I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking specifically about that. But my question is, how will you help to determine those one who may be already helping them in healing or coaching people, they still couldn't determine which way they should be led? Or the second question is, which method that are you using to reconnect to them in one-on-one session, so to give them an impact what you do actually? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think Robert said it best there, and I'll give another example of this. There was a heiau, which is a spiritual place in Hawaii, and on the above the door there was a sign that said, "Think not that all wisdom comes from your school." Right? So there's many different paths that lead to the same place. I honor all the different paths that lead to powerful places for people. I think that there's strengths in different systems. Sometimes, when I was stuck in my problem, somebody wasn't going to come and use NLP with me per se, because I could think circles around their NLP. Like I had just done it for so long. So I was looking for other methods of healing. I was looking at alchemy, and I was looking at the Kabbalah, and I was looking at all these other systems of, so I'm well versed in a lot of different things. And once again, I put that inside of our chatbots and stuff so that people can get all sorts of different forms of healing. I do believe that, when we learn a methodology like even NLP, it can dovetail perfectly with anything that's being done out there. I've been around long enough where I've seen it dovetailed with everything from spiritual psychology to, energetic forms of healing, to ancestral healing, to Vedic astrology, anything you could possibly imagine. We've been able to dovetail it with and make it work with that perfectly. I think people need different things at different times. For me, as somebody that is a tour guide for people, because that's kind of my role, is to guide them in the transformation that they're having. They do their own healing. I'm not a healer. I'm not that, but I'm a tour guide. Like, I help to guide people in the direction of a shifting consciousness. As a tour guide, it's part of my responsibility to look at people and to talk to people and figure out where they're at and honor their model of the world. Dr. Milton Erickson said, each of us has a model of the world that's as unique as our thumbprint. So we have a unique way of looking at the world. So if somebody comes to me and they say, Chris, I've got an issue, and my issue is a past life issue. If I say, oh, that's a bunch of garbage, we don't believe in, I have no chance of making an impact with that person because I'm conflicting with their model of the world. If I say, oh, I don't believe in ancestral healing, which I do, right? But if I said that, that's not going to help the person that comes in and they've got a problem and it's happening in a genealogical timeline or from another generation that gets passed down, because the fear around money could get passed from the grandparents to the parents, they get passed to the children. You have all sorts of things that can happen genealogically and in the ancestry as well. So I have an open mind when I'm working with people, and I work within their model of the world to help them facilitate the transformation. And when I teach the tools, I teach it from an open perspective, because there are many different models of the world, and there's beauty in the differences that are out there. I love it. My friend, some of you may have known Jeremiah Abrams, who used to live out here. Dear friend of mine. He was a Jungian analyst and a very expert in shadow work, and one of the foremost experts in shadow work. And Jeremiah said whenever he would do trainings or deliver content, he would always do some of the local healing, because that was just part of the magic of being wherever he was. And I took that on, and so I'm always open to all forms of healing and stuff like that. In our advanced trainings, I'll bring in other healers and stuff to offer that up, because there are many different ways to reach where we're going. Yeah, and I'm a constant student of life as well. I'm not perfect. I have just as many problems as anybody else, but I've got some great tools that can help people to repattern things. Yeah, hope that answers it.
Beautiful question. So look, we're going to begin to wrap up. So there's a few things I want to do. If there's any other burning questions, you let me know, raise your hand. Just going to quickly flip to next week. So next week's show will be here. We're usually in the garden, but I wasn't sure about the weather tonight. And also I felt that this kind of episode would go a bit deep. So I felt that it was a nicer space that keeps us close, as opposed to being in the garden where you have some here, some there, and so on. So next week we'll probably be in the garden. Let's see. But the guest next week, many of you may know Mark Feldman, CEO of Global Bali Home, partner at Standard Capital Group, general partner at Legacy Square Capital, GP at Horizon Ventures in Qatar, chapter lead at VNTR Capital. So, quick bit of background: with a distinguished career spanning venture, real estate development, and investment banking, has led major financing and restructuring projects that have shaped urban landscapes and transformed commercial properties. And I'll end with this one. Beyond real estate, is experienced investment banker with a track record of $5 billion plus in assets, managed IPO structuring and blockchain-based financing models. Previously played a key role at Prime Charter Limited, which was acquired by CIBC World Markets, leading high-profile investment projects. So Mark will be here next week. Very interesting guy. Lived around Bali for a while, so that will be an interesting episode. But coming right back and placing us back here in the present. So tonight has been, I think, a show that is worth watching back again and again and again. And as I kind of mentioned before, inspiration is often caught, not taught. So what I mentioned to you before as well was that, you know, you might be in one of 2 or 3 places. My role is just so you see who the speaker is or the speakers are. You see who they really are. And then it's up to you to make your choice, make your decision. I'll get you to Christopher to really after this to kind of repeat very briefly what it is, when it is, and obviously the QR code is here. Now, one other thing which I want to say as well is that I just want to thank Brother Guzman here, who's doing all of these 3 things at once. So please give him a round of applause. Yay! Thunderous round of applause. I want to thank you for coming here, because remember, at the end of the day, right, it's online and it's offline and in person. To me, the magic happens offline. It happens in this room or in these rooms that we've been in, that we are tonight, because there's something that we all share from this episode, right? And there's a connection and a frequency alignment between all of us, right? A coalescence. So please take the time to speak to the person or people that maybe Chris or others here tonight that you feel that you want to connect with, because that's where some of the magic is as well. All right. Thirdly, I want to thank you, Brother Chris.
You're awesome.
All right, for being here tonight, man. And I love what you do, man. And again, you know, what you offer is a phenomenal tool to help people connect with the person that they really, truly want to be, and probably came in this world to be. Now, one thing which I didn't say tonight that I may as well share it now. So I grew up in children's homes, orphanages, from 6 months of age to 17 and a half years of age in London. And through going through many, many things, including finding my passion, my life's purpose at the age of 12. If you want to know what that was or what it is, come and see me later on. But one of the people in my family tree that I found later, 15 years ago, when I met my dad again, is Martin Luther King. So he's in my family tree. Jamaican Maroon, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Marcus Garvey. Wow. Yeah, all 3. But I didn't know. All right. So it's amazing. Like, and by the way, as a kid, I was extremely shy. Mechanical jaw issues. What does that mean? I suck these 2 fingers. I'm not giving you 2 fingers. I suck these 2 fingers that pull my jaw down, right? So when I close my mouth and clench my jaw, my tongue still comes out through the middle. All right? Because my teeth don't meet in the middle. So I had a lisp that was like, my tongue come out like this, and when I would speak to people, it'd be like this. You're laughing, all right? You know, so I had to learn where to put my tongue. I had to learn how to speak again. As a kid, I was bullied in the kids' home. So I had issues around other men. Right, which is funny. You be here, Teo, Bali Brotherhood, right? So I had this going on, and I was painfully shy, with the longest, hardest, deepest stutter that you probably ever heard. So I would start a word. We're in the UK, remember? You could go off and make a cup of tea. That means boil the kettle, get the tea bag, pour the water in, boiled, add milk and sugar, and come back. And I'll be So if you would have asked anyone back then that this guy would be a speaker on stages around the world and move people and be inspirational, be like, that guy? No way! That's what you would have said. So it's phenomenal what is in your hands when you find a tool in a vehicle and have the desire, passion, and commitment to follow it through. Right? So, as again, what Chris offers, Christopher Howard, is a tool that will get you there, right? If it's something that you feel for you is, I need to do this, or it's something that you know you need to do, but you're scared because there's fear around it, right? So I'll leave that with you, because that's for you, it's not for me. So Chris, the last question that I'm going to ask you, which was coming just about now. Okay, there it is. So we've spoken about NLP and these other techniques that you're using, right? But people are people, right? We have our challenges, we have our problems, we have our walls of fear to overcome, right? So probably, hopefully not the longest answer, but the longest question, feeling this room, feeling all the people that you've had, the 3,000 for every event for many, many years, what is for you the most common block that people have to step in to the person that they've always wanted to be and would love to be? Because there's many, but the one that shines out amongst them all, what is that block? At the same time, what was yours? Maybe it's the same. And how did they overcome that?
Wow, that's an epic question. If you asked me in business, I would have had one answer, but you're asking in general, and so my answer changes a little bit. I think people's biggest problem that I've seen with audiences and stuff like that, and with me in my own life, has been not selling themselves short. It's a lack of self-belief. It's a lack of the feeling of not being good enough, the feeling of not fitting in. And to me, it comes back to self-concept, and if I go back to Neville, which I really think, I hope you wrote that book down, The Power of Awareness, because Neville talks about your self-concept determines everything. And one of the things that he talks about is the idea that, we are all consciousness, and consciousness is indivisible. Consciousness is, we can't separate your consciousness from my consciousness. Consciousness is consciousness. And all things at some level are made up of the same cause substance manifesting in infinite diversity. And so for me, and this is just the belief system that I've developed when I'm marrying quantum physics with spirituality, we're all expressions of God incarnate from my perspective. But people don't see that. They see the limitation. They buy into the not good enough, lack of self-belief area. And when we really recognize, if we wake up to the idea that that's blasphemous, to say I'm not good enough would be blasphemous, because it was saying that God's not good enough. And if we really wake up to that, and we recognize the divinity within, and that, God, from my perspective, is you, is me, but so much more. It's everything. But if we are the entire ocean in a drop, then we're expressions of, I think of us as being, we erupt into the quantum field, and we're here, and we have eyes to see the world and experience it as ourselves, but that's not who we are. We have that connection. And when we really recognize the divinity within, that to me is the path to letting go of all the false associations, and any association or identification. I'll say this better. Any identification is a false identification. I'm a bad mother. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I am. They say God made man in his image, but who do you image yourself to be? I am, whatever you put after those words, that's what determines what the cause substance takes the form as. And so I am depressed. Well, now you put boundary conditions on the unlimited boundlessness that's you. And then you live within that box, and that becomes a reality. Once again, a problem of language. So for me, it's the lack of the recognition of the divine source within us, and that same divine source that's in everybody.
Thank you so much. So finally, just the dates for your upcoming course.
Yes, dates. So we start this Saturday. It goes 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Change, free your calendar up. We used to have Wendy from our office. People would call in and they're like, I have a wedding those dates. And she's like, cancel it. You want to be here. And it's kind of funny that she would say that, but she said it with all sincerity, because what if you could check yourself in for a weekend and come out and have life never be the same again? You'd be free of the old problems and you gain that propulsion. And that's what the promise of the weekend is, if you come in and play full out. So make sure you grab this coupon code. We have two things circling around there. One is just for our community, but the one on the flyer out there, as well as this one, is the one for the tickets to the event. And like I said, I'll give you the free level of entry to our Epic Life site too. Come and join us, spend a weekend with us. You'll love it. You'll have an incredible time at Nuuanu. We hope to see you all there.
Everybody, a round of applause, Christopher Howard, everyone. Thank you so much. See you next week.